Hey loves, we're making a well-fitted halter neck top, so please keep on watching if you want to learn how to do this. So I'm first beginning with making 1/2 inch borderline. This is where all my measurements will be starting from. So for this, we typically need our shoulder to bust point, our shoulder to top length point as well. So I'm going to mark those points, and then using my pattern master, I'm going to be squaring that out. Now I'm just going to be marking my shoulder, half of my shoulder measurements, and then I will also be marking 1 inch for our shoulder slope, but this actually is not needed at the end of the day. I just don't know why I even placed itself to start with. So now I need to find my chest point, my chest line. To find your chest line, you divide your bust circumference by 6, then add 1.5 inches. This is what I marked, and this is our chest line. You'll be placing that, whatever you get from the shoulder slant downwards, that's what's going to form your chest line. So now I'm using a neckline width of 3.5 inches, and I'm just connecting the slant, which is necessarily not needed. So now I'm marking on my chest line. I marked 1/4 of my bust circumference measurement plus 1 inch for sewing allowance, and then the point I make, I'm going to be connecting it to my neck point. So on this point, I marked 1/4 of my bust circumference, and then using a straight ruler, I'm going to be connecting it together to my neck point. Done with that, we're going to go into the waist dart. So kindly stick to the end to see how to do an under bust tightening. Waist dart, I'm placing my nipple to nipple measurements plus 1/2 inch, and then I'll be squaring that out. I am placed on my bust line and also my top line. I'll be squaring that out. I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch from my bust, and then taking 1/2 inch dart at both sides of the line, and I'll be connecting it from my waist dart. Now after doing this, I'm now going to be dividing my waist circumference by 4, and I'll be adding 1 inch for allowance and also 1 inch for the dart I already took, and then you're now going to be marking it on your top length. I'll be connecting that as well to the chest line we already made. So now to form our bust dart, I came down by 2.5 inches and I connected it to my nipple point, and I also came out by 1 inch to avoid the pointy edge. I took a dart intake of 1.5 inch. This 1.5 inch is the difference between your front waist length and your back waist length. So now I'm just folding in my bust dart to make sure that my lines are equal. You see that if you haven't watched my basic bodice pattern, you might not understand what I'm doing, but it's just basically to make sure that your dart doesn't have any shortage at the end of the day. So you can see the difference I made. So now just give you a little bit more hold. You're going to be placing your nipple to nipple measurement you already took, placing that same amount, and then with a ruler you'll be connecting it in such a way that it touches the same bust line, but then you'll be drawing the line stopping at the chest line, and then you'll be taking 1/2 inch dart intake at both sides. This helps to give you a better hold at your bust point. So these are the darts we would be taking at the end of the day. Now I'm just placing my neck depth of 3.5 inches using my pattern master to make my curve, and this is how it's supposed to be looking so nice. So now I don't really want that armhole dart to be there, so I'm just going to be transferring that dart to the bust dart. So to close the dart, you have to open another dart. So I'm basically closing my chest dart and transferring it to my bust dart, but I'm slashing out my bust dart so that the excess can be moved to my bust dart. So I'm just slashing out that line, and once I close it, everything will be moved to the bust dart. So after doing this, please remember to use your ruler as well to redraw your lines, because you know that intakes, after closing that, you having shortage of fabric, so you need to redraw your lines. So now I'm taking a piece of paper and I want to be filling in that extra that we have made. So you also need to fold your bust that to make sure you don't have any new shortage. I folded mine and it's still good as new, so I just continued. You can see it's still good, it's still matching up, so you're good. So now I'm just going to be cutting it out. So now it's on to the back pattern. I also made same half an inch border line, so I marked my bust line, marked my top length, but remember that the difference between your top length and your front length, your front waist length and your back waist length, remember, is like 1.5 inches or 2 inches. If you're not sure, just make it a difference of what you took for your bust that intake. Like me, what I took was 1.5. So just like front, I placed 3.5 inches neck width, and then 1 inch neck depth, sorry, because this is the back. And I also marked my chest line. I made the same slant, which I don't understand why I actually did it, but it doesn't really matter. So now I marked my chest point. My chest point, remember, is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5. That's how to know your chest length. So I just marked that as well. So on my chest length, I'll be placing 1/4 of my bust circumference plus 1 inch for seam allowance, and then I'll be connecting that to the neck. So for my top length as well, I'm starting by placing my nipple to nipple measurements. I'll be squaring that up. And then I'll be taking a dart of 1/2 inch on both sides. Please do well to make your dart longer than I did. At this point, I lost some footage, but I actually placed 1/4 of my waist circumference plus 2 inches, 1 inch for that and 1 inch for sewing allowance. And also on my center back, I'm taking 1/2 inch and squaring and making a diagonal line. This is just for the zip bulge contouring. So now this is how our back pattern is looking. I'll also be adding another piece of paper so I can add my zipper allowances. I'm adding a zipper allowance of 1.5. Once done, you label your front and your back pattern. This is how your pattern is supposed to be looking. And now for your underbust tightening, the trick of it all, if you want to put a cup in this, what you need to do is take your front pattern, mark in your underbust length. You're meant to have taken these measurements on your client, marking your underbust length, and then you'll be squaring that line out. And then on where the dart legs actually are, you take 1/2 inch after the existing dart leg on both sides. Then taking your pattern master, you're going to make a curve. Try as much as possible to make it deep, make it a deep curve. It will have that, fooling effect. And then using a straight diagonal line, you then connect it down to the dart legs. This will actually shape your bust a lot better. The contourings on this are superb, and you will get the ultimate fit if you do this. If you do this, I actually advise you put a cup in it. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and like, and also check out some of my videos. See you guys next time. Love you. Bye.